Good morning, everyone. Our subject is Power System Operation and Control, which comprises of 5 units. So I would like to summarize all the units and what is the syllabus, what are the contents to be covered in this subject. The expansion of the subject Power System Operation and Control, PSOC. So in 4th year, 1st semester, you have this subject, regular subject. In summary, the objectives of the PSOC are you are able to analyze the optimal operation of thermal power systems without losses, with losses, and optimal operation of hydrothermal power systems in a coordinated way, and analyze the control of frequency and voltage independently, and to in order to able to understand single area load frequency control and its transfer function block diagrams, and steady state and dynamic responses of single area system. Again, after that, tie line modeling. Tie line is the transmission line, which is used to control tie line power between two control areas. So this is the transmission line which is used to connect two independent control areas to exchange the power between them as per the requirements and requirements as well as understanding between the control areas. And then two area control, either it may be two thermal power stations or hydrothermal power stations. And then lastly, in order to understand the control of reactive power as well as voltage of the power systems. So these are the objectives of your PSOC. So Unit 1, this is the entire syllabus. Unit 1 comprising of economic operation of thermal power plants. So in which we will understand cost curves, incremental cost curves, heat rate curves, and optimal operation of power systems without any transmission losses, and optimal operation of power plants or economic operation of power plants including transmission line losses, and line loss formula, loss coefficients, and general expression for transmission line losses are BMN coefficients, B coefficients. That is the Unit 1. So in Unit 2, we will discuss the hydrothermal scheduling, the optimal operation of hydro and thermal power stations, in which we will consider the operating cost of thermal power plant and water discharge availability of head of hydro power stations, which may be comprising of equivalent operating cost. And then modeling of turbine. In the third unit will concentrate on power system component modeling. which comprising of turbines. Already we have completed in the previous unit. And modeling of generator, classical model of synchronous machine, swing equation, and generator load model, and modeling of governor and excitation system, and IEEE type 1 excitation system model, transfer function model. So this is about modeling of various components of power system or synchronous machine, that is generating unit. So in the fourth unit we'll obtain the transfer function model of a single area power system and its steady state and dynamic responses, and then modeling of tie line and second order two area control transfer function model can be obtained, and then its steady state and dynamic responses have been obtained. So that is about the unit 4, which comprising of single area and two area load frequency control. At last we will consider reactive power control, in which various sinks and sources of reactive power of the power system, and then uncompensated line and compensated lines, so series and shunt compensations, and as well as line and load compensation and its specifications, and the comparison among all the compensators. Then we will summarize the reactive power control and compensation, different compensation methods. So textbooks will follow Nagaraj and Kothari. Second one, Elgard. These two are the major textbooks we will consider. Remaining all are reference books. Now let me focus on the brief description of entire syllabus. Power system operation in introduction. So we'll consider a transmission system in which, so this is the thermal power. G1 is the generating station 1 of thermal power station, to which a step-up transformer is connected. Generally thermal power station, it is generating at 11 kV or 13.8 kV as a generating voltage, which is given to the step-up transformer of 220 kV or 400 kV level. Then it is transmitted to other load centers. So this is the load center, is located at midpoint. This is load. This is load. And here G2 is the generating station of hydropower station. Both are interconnected. Again a step-up transformer is here. Here also 11 kV or 13.8 kV is generated at generating station, which is increased to 220 kV or 400 kV level. So thereby the interconnected power system is formed with one thermal power station and one hydro power station considered here. Of course, we have so many generating power plants in interconnected power systems. This is the power transmission system, in which so many number of power transformers as well as transmission lines are there in between generating stations as well as load centers. Therefore, a power system is comprising of so many buses. There are three kinds of buses. Very first one is slack bus or reference bus. So which is nothing but a highest power generating plant can be considered as slack bus or reference bus, which is used to supply transmission losses as well as spinning reserve. Second bus is PV bus or generator buses. 15 number of buses, 15% buses are generating type or PV buses. Sometimes these buses are also known as voltage controlled buses, in which the voltage is kept constant at 1 pu. Third one, PQ bus or load buses. PQ bus is also known as load bus. The load buses of the power system are 85%. Therefore, if 100 buses are there in a power system, one bus is swing bus, 14 buses are generator buses, 85 buses are load buses. These are the three different buses of the power system. So the load flow and power flow can be performed in any interconnected power system comprising of many number of buses. At each bus there are 4 parameters: P power, Q reactive power, F frequency or delta load angle, V voltage. So among 4 parameters, 2 parameters are known, 2 parameters are unknown. Therefore, by providing the load flow analysis, we have to obtain 2 unknown parameters at each of the buses. Therefore, at slack bus, V and delta are specified. Therefore, we need to compute the P and Q of the slack bus, which comprising of active and reactive power losses as well as active and reactive power spinning reserves, to be obtained after performing the load flow. So at PV bus, power and voltage are specified and Q and delta can be obtained. As bus number 3, P and Q are specified, therefore delta and V have to be found. So instead of frequency, we'll use delta here, load angle. Thereby, by providing the load flow analysis, we can compute 2 unknown parameters at each of the bus. This is the summary of first slide, power system operation and control. In introduction, we have interconnected power system comprising of so many generating stations as well as buses, including power transformers as well as transmission lines. So in which all the buses are classified into 3 different categories. The first one is slack bus or reference bus. Only one bus is reference bus in a power system, and remaining 15% buses are generator buses and 85% buses are load buses. So the parameters of the power system are P, Q, delta and V. Among 4, 2 are specified in each of the buses and 2 are unknown. After performing the load flow analysis, we can compute the unknown parameters of power system study at each of the bus. So let us consider generating plant of comprising of n number of generators, 1, 2, 3 up to n, which are generating Pg1, Pg2, Pg3 active power. Let us consider in megawatts: Pg1, Pg2, Pg3. Like that, sigma Pg is equal to Pg1 plus Pg2 up to Pgn. Similarly, m number of loads are there: PD1, PD2 up to PDM. So in a power system, if we don't consider the losses, so PL is equal to 0, and hence power balance equation is nothing but Pgi sigma Pgi equal to sigma Pdj. Here for unit commitment problem, in order to operate the units for optimal operation, we need to have the power balance equation, that is equal to sigma Pgi equal to sigma Pdj. So Pgi, I is equal to 1 to n number of generating stations are there, that is equal to Pdj, j is equal to 1 to m. So m number of loads are there. In a power balance equation, both should be matched when losses are neglected. For that reason, we will go for this Pgi equal to Pg1 plus Pg2 plus Pg3 and so on, Pgn equal to summation of all demands, Pd1 plus Pd2 plus up to Pdm. So by using priority ordering or dynamic programming methods, we will complete the unit commitment problem, or we will arrive at unit commitment problem. The unit commitment problem is among n number of generating units, which unit have to be generated first and which unit have to be generated at last. So in a priority ordering method, the most efficient generating unit is loaded first and least efficient machine is loaded at last. In that priority, we'll go for the unit commitment. The second one is dynamic programming method, which we'll discuss in the next units. That is the unit commitment problem. In summary, in optimal operation, one of the important point is unit commitment, in which in a particular generating plant, which unit have to be loaded first and which unit have to be loaded at last in a particular fashion by using priority ordering or dynamic programming methods. Here assume PL is equal to 0. Next one, optimal power flow without any losses, that is the economic load scheduling without losses, transmission line losses. Here in a transmission line, R plus Jx, R is the resistance of the line and X is the reactance of the line. Compared to reactance of the line, resistance is very small and sometimes we can neglect the resistance value, and hence losses are assumed to be 0. In practice, it may not be 0, so theoretically at least it is 0, in which Li equal to 1, that is penalty factor is there is no penalty. So we will discuss the penalty factor in the subsequent discussions or videos. Here generating plant 1, this is 2, both the generating plants are connected with the help of interconnected system with transmission lines of no losses. Third point, optimal power flow with transmission line losses, in which the resistance of the line is considered. Therefore 3I square R, the summation of sigma 3I square R losses are there. Those losses are considered for the optimal operation. So in which we will consider the penalty factors. So we will discuss in detail in subsequent videos. The fourth one, hydrothermal coordination, in which all thermal units are considered with the operating cost and all hydro units can be considered with the water discharge and head availability, so which is an equivalent to the operating cost of thermal power plant. So the both can be considered to obtain the coordination equation for optimal operation of hydrothermal scheduling. In a nutshell, optimal operation comprising of the first one unit commitment, second one optimal power flow without losses, third optimum power flow with transmission losses, the fourth one hydrothermal scheduling or hydrothermal coordination. Next one, units 3 and 4 are comprising of load frequency control, ALFC, single area load frequency control and two area load frequency controls, and modeling of various components of the power systems. So therefore the first part is of modeling of various power system components, governor, turbine and generator load models can be modeled in part 1. In part 2 we will understand control area, coherent group, unison operation and modeling of single area load frequency control transfer function models, and then various responses, single area, steady state and dynamic responses of the single area system. In part 3, tie line modeling and modeling of transfer function modeling of two area power system and its steady state and dynamic responses. In part 4 you will understand the integral control action of single area system and two area systems, without control and with control, and the difference between uncontrolled case and controlled case, that is secondary control, without secondary control, with secondary control actions, and then tie line bias control and AGC, automatic governor control. All these are the various parts of load frequency control. So in PS4C, units 3 and 4 comprising of modeling of power system components, and then single area control and its responses, tie line modeling and two area control and its response, and miscellaneous topics like tie line bias control. And unit 5 is comprising of reactive power control. The reactive power control and voltage of the power system are closely related QV control. So in which you have uncontrolled case and controlled cases. So in first one, uncompensated power systems are transmission lines, and compensated power systems are transmission lines, and series and shunt compensation, in which series compensators are used as well as shunt compensators are used. So similarly, line and load compensators and their specifications and voltage control can be discussed in detail. Therefore this is the conclusion of our introduction of PS4C, and now I will stop here. Thank you.